Sound good? Okay, you can start.
Okay. So, can you introduce yourself and tell me about yourself a little bit?
First ladies, please.
Okay, I'm Marina Lopez. I'm from Colombia. I came from Colombia more than 20 years ago, and we live in England around 13 years.
I am Ovidio Uribe. I am from Colombia as well. I am his husband. As she say, we lived in Spain first for around 11 years, and then came to England, and we are here happy.
So I'm Lorena. I'm from Argentina, and I guess the reason we are meeting today has to do with my identity as a migrant. I hold many identities, and as a migrant, I am someone that has lived in Poland, England, and is currently undertaking the experience of moving to Spain. So that's me.
My complete name is Joanna Isabel Saunders. Normally I'm known as Isabel. And I came to UK 22 years ago, and I'm from Mexico.
So, you moved to Poland, then you moved to England, then now you moved to Spain. And how is that? What moved you to move?
Well, I guess that's where all my other identities comes in. So Argentina was after a big crisis that touched me personally, but also kind of made the context quite hopeless. And so I basically went traveling without a very clear plan. I left Argentina for a year thinking I was going to return, and I didn't. I met with my husband, Bernie, in Poland, and I ended up moving to England in order to live with him. I stayed there. I had a child with him. We're still together. And for a very long time, I wanted him to experience something that was a bit closer to my own culture. Argentina is a very unstable country. Currently, it has 120% annual inflation. Is all the time on the verge of some kind of catastrophe and explosion. And Spain became a possibility also because my brother lives here. So there was something about him experiencing something that's closer to my culture, but also having my family closer to us rather than his family, which was what happened in the UK. So I had an opportunity to engage in a master's degree here in Spain, and I moved. So I guess the first move was a consequence of a financial crisis paired up with curiosity and a different age. The second move was to be with the person I love, and the third move was to do with sharing with him some of my identity. Yeah.
I came here as a holiday, as a short period. The first country was going to be UK, but then I met my husband, and then I just stayed.
So, when you moved from Colombia to Spain, what motivated you to move? Or like, what you looking for? What you kind of searching for?
Improve our economical situation. Yes, because in that time, I lost my job, and my sister-in-law was telling us from long time that came to Spain because she was living there. Came to Spain. Here there is more opportunity to live, and we decided to go there. That was in 1999.
Yes, 1999.
Yes, 1999. And that was the reason.
And then what motivates you to move to England?
We wanted to have different challenge, and one of them was that because we were thinking about our daughters. We have 2 daughters, and we were thinking about them. Yes, we want the best for them, and we think here is better for them. Yes.
I would like to add in anything else about, she said, about the reason we are here, living here. We moved to live here. When we were living in Spain, we have an apartment there, a flat, and in 2008, something like that, there was a crisis, a global crisis, and we need to solve our flat, and the situation was no good. We have been here on holidays, and a friend tell us came here, and we did it because there was an opportunity to improve our economical situation and the language, the better education for our daughters. That was other reason.
Then the challenges will be to get into a new culture that sometimes you don't understand the thinking, the words, the language is what that was the first thing, and then through the years to know the culture and to blend and to be part of the community.
So can you tell us a little bit about your journey to a new country and what some of the challenges you face coming along the way, coming here?
Well, first than anything, I need to learn English, and I start studying, taking several courses. Then I started looking for a job. At the beginning it was difficult because of the language, and I didn't have experience here. I have experience in Mexico doing different jobs, administrative, but my English was not good enough. Then that was the first challenge that I faced. Then I need to start from the bottom. In that moment, I would think like working in a cafe, like doing catalogs, things that I didn't need to speak because I didn't manage to talk or to understand English very well. And then through the different jobs and learning the language better, then I just have been able to change the jobs and to learn and to develop.
What situations did you have along this way that were challenging and difficult?
Yes, trying to do the same level of development that I had in Mexico at that time. It was difficult just to realize that I need to step back and like feel that I was going to start from the bottom because I didn't have the experience because of the language mainly. But that helped me to develop other skills and to find myself in other ways as well.
Did you have any situations that were a bit more difficult, challenging?
Yes, of course, the language.
Yes,
the main challenge for us, because sometimes I am ashamed to say I am living a long time here and speak as bad English as we do, but we are improving and.
Is there any situation that you can say that you could share about challenging? How challenging that were, those situations were? How did you came across them?
There's a couple of things that are challenging. The first challenge, I guess it's unique to the fact that I come from what's described as a third world country. I don't like that definition, but I think it has to do with that description, which is the majority of my degrees were not accepted or recognized in Europe. So although I was a clinical psychologist in South America, my first job in England was working in a Pizza Hut place, because there's something about the knowledge we hold as a non-European country that seems to be, I don't know, not as important or less, I don't know. There is something about that. And so the bureaucracy of recognizing my knowledge was very difficult, but I guess the bit that was more difficult about it was that for a very long time I actually kind of bought into that idea, and my lived experience was that my knowledge wasn't good enough, and it took me lots of years to not believe that. I remember having a conversation with someone who asked me if I had been colonized, which I thought was a really good description of what was going on with me. So I think for me, the more challenging bit, and I think it's because I come from a country that it's considered a third world country, is about not buying into all the narratives that people hold about us, because then they become microaggressions that you kind of don't even realize they're happening to you. So I think the most challenging thing for me was, and continues to be, holding my identity and being very aware of the fact that whatever people might think about where I come from does not define me, and I don't need to buy into it.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? Like, do you have to fight for it, or do you have to kind of challenge people's views? Or
I guess it depends on the context. That initially I used to get really angry. So, which is interesting. People would say to me, "Oh, do you dance salsa?" And I would say, "What, do you dance Swahili dances?" And they would look at me, and I was like, "Well, it's exactly the same difference from my country to Central America, where people dance salsa. So I don't know why you're asking me that," which actually did not invite conversation, rather stopped it. Mm-hmm. I used to get really, really angry. And then with time, I started challenging a little bit more, in a less challenging, I mean, I continue to challenge, but in a more inviting way. So I would be curious about what people made certain assumptions. So for instance, I remember being in a lecture in university and someone saying, "Oh, you know this author." I don't remember who it was. And me saying, "Oh, do you know Paulo Freire?" And they looked at me and I said, "Oh, no, because if you assume, I can assume." Which was still a little bit not that inviting, but at least not so horrible. And then in time, I just started inviting people to think about what is it that makes them think that their reality is a universal reality, but in a more kind of fun way, or, you know, not being so angry, and understanding that not everybody that makes those assumptions is necessarily being horrible to you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it took me time. There was a process, and currently I'm happy to, you know, say, "Oh, where did you get that idea from? It's interesting." No, we don't read that, but we read whatever. Or we don't watch that on television, but we watch whatever. Or we don't dance salsa, we dance tango. Do you know anything about tango? Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. Which is a bit less, mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess it's a bit more inviting. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Lorena. Lovely talking to you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this project. So what is it that you're doing?
So it's a community project from a community organization called Together Productions. So they are just collecting stories about people around Thurrock and about migration. So we went to the one workshop. Darren found actually the information and sent, because Luiza likes filming and all that. So I went with her to see what it was about. And then I didn't know much about it as well, and I like stories. So I thought, "Oh, I can say I can actually do that." I thought it was interesting as well. And then there was an option, like a huge, you know, like we basically could do whatever we wanted. Then we thought it could be a good idea to just talk to our friends and collect stories about their migration as well and their experience. And that's what we're doing. So we spoke with
Fantastic.
We spoke with Isabel. Do you remember Isabel, the lady from Mexico? She lives here in Thurrock. You probably met her at some point. And then we will speak with Marina and Ovidio a bit later as well.
How are you, Luiza?
I'm okay.
You got a mullet. News. Fly.
That happened.
Enjoy your day, guys.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All these interviews. I hope that was useful.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I miss you. I love you. And you
I love you too. Bye. Big hug for Bernie and Ollie.
Bye.
Bye.
I win. Bye.
Bye.